1994 Ferrari Mondial T. As you can see, this is the roadster version. Car's got quite an interesting history, which we'll get to in a second. But if you don't know the difference, the Mondial was redesigned for the T. T standing for transverse. So the original car had a 3.2 litre longitudinally mounted V8 engine. Obviously mid-rear engine still. This car, the T, was the launch of the new phase of Ferrari V8s. Transversely mounted. This one was now 3.4 with 300 horsepower. That same sort of subframe, droppable subframe, transverse mounted V8, that same concept and design carried on all the way through to the end of the 360 in the early 2000s. A few other differences on the T. Front and rear bumpers are different. Rear wings are different. The intakes are different. Front wings are different as well because it's got a wider track all round. Generally a better handling car, wider track, and then the whole point of the engine being mounted transversely was to get the engine down lower, get your centre of gravity lower, get the car handling better. They also got a limited slip diff in the T's and the optional vario transmission. So it's a automatic clutch in a manual gearbox. So you still have the gated manual, you just don't have the clutch pedal. This car's got quite an interesting story. It was sold new by Italian Motors Limited in Hong Kong in 1994 to the original owner, which was a British owner, quite a well-known company owner. It's all stamped in the book and everything. You can see it there. She bought through one of their companies in Hong Kong in 94. It was then shipped to the UK through Maranello concessionaires in Egham and UK registered. Still owned by the same owner. So the first UK owner is the original owner of the car. They kept the car for a couple of years. At this point, the car hadn't even done 1,000 miles. Again, when you look at Hong Kong, most of the cars that come out there are especially low mileage, especially the high-end stuff, because you don't tend to have one car. And being British, they weren't there all the time. The car was then sold to its second UK owner, who had it for 10 years. We've actually managed to speak to him today. Remembers the car very well. Apparently did 200 miles in it in 10 years. He had it tucked away in a nice heated garage for the whole time. And again, when you look at the car, you can tell. He sold the car to the third owner. So the second owner was in Newcastle, sorry. The third owner also in Newcastle. He had it for a few years. And then the current owner bought the car in 2012. At that point, the car had done 1,256 miles. He's done, I think it works out about 400 miles. We're on 1,600 miles now. I'll show you that in a second. Car's just been removed from long-term storage. It's been recommissioned. It's had a service, plugs, that sort of stuff. The garage that serviced it is our go-to Ferrari expert here, which is how the cars end up with us. His advice was the car probably wants a new set of tyres on it because, as you can see by looking at it, we're on a matching set of original spec Goodyear Eagles. So looking at the mileage, those very well could be correct original tyres, which means they are a little bit hard. Nice to keep and have with the car, especially on the mileage, but there is a matching set Goodyear Eagles all the way around. And he did say, not on miles, but on time, we're due a set of belts on it. But again, being the T, it's a much easier job than the earlier 3.2s because you can just drop the engine quite quickly. So, we're going to start by having a good look around the bodywork. Then we'll go through the interior and we'll go for a cold engine start. But before we start, I just want to show you the mileage. 1,612 miles. Like I say, we've spoken to the majority of the UK owners. We know the history of the car. We've got some MOTs, some stamps and stuff like that. There is a nice history file as well, so if you check the description, we'll detail all of that in there. Looking around the car, again, the Ferrari specialist and tracing owners, to us, it looks like the mileage is more than likely correct. You can never fully prove these things, especially when the car's been abroad originally, but if you know this sort of era of Ferraris, if you look at things like the carpets, they wear terribly on 15,000 miles. All that sort of stuff gives you quite a good clue. But like I said, we're going to start with the bodywork, move on to the interior, and then we'll go for a cold engine startup. Right-hand drive car. If we start on this driver's side and look down there, you can see it's beautifully straight all the way down in Rosso red. One of the many different Rosso reds that Ferrari have, but it's this this Rosso red. Lovely and neat on the front wing. If we're being really picky, we've got what's called a fisheye. The car has been painted at some point. There's a couple of little fisheyes in the front of the wing there, but very, very minor. You've got to get right on top of them with a 4K camera like that to see them. Lower half of the front bumper is all nice and neat, as is the black section on the bottom. Normally all of this gets pulled apart with stone chips, but as you can see, it's lovely and tidy all the way around. Original spec wheels, and like I say, we do believe the tyres to be the original ones. Again, they're pre-date stamped, so it is very difficult to prove, but they are quite hard, as you can hear. So yeah, you would want to think about changing those. Depends what you're going to do with it though. On this front end here, normally this plastic section goes dry and brittle and horrible, but this one is lovely and neat, as you can see. There's no delamination on the screen anywhere. A-pillar is nice and tidy, as is that bit of bodywork where it meets the roof. Coming down this side, you'll notice the etching on the glass, 97721 NTB, which is on both sides, all three windows on both sides. That is the original Hong Kong number plate, which is in the service pack book, which is nice to see. Panel gaps are lovely and neat. Around the handle is good. No marks at all to whinge about on the driver's door. Go a bit lower, a little bit of road dirt. The car was driven to us. No signs of any damage on the sill or anything like that. Around the air intake, again, that's all lovely and neat. Badging's good. Look back down that side, you can see panel gaps are good. Door sits nicely, door shut. Lovely. Lovely and neat down the bottom here, and around the arch again, nice and sharp. If we're being really picky, there's a couple of little stone chips on the top of the side of the bumper there, and there's another one that's been touched in. Coming round onto the back, bumper corners and lower half of that bumper all the way along, lovely and neat. The exhaust sits nice and level. There's no scuffs on either corner. There is one small chip just across the top there. Badges are nice, they're not sort of overly worn with sponges or anything like that. Tail lamps on both sides are good. It does come with this plate. Nice and neat along this section here. And then up onto the boot lid. Around the badge is nice. It does, on the camera, from panel to panel, look ever so slightly off, but I can tell you, looking at it with a naked eye, it's not off. It's just a mixture of our lights and multi angles. Around the engine cover, all nice and neat. Sort of the buttress section of the convertible top is lovely. What I would say is that probably wants a good clean. It's not dry or cracked or hard or yellow, it just wants a good clean. And then round on the passenger side, super straight all the way down, really nice and neat. This section here is good. Like I say, we know it's had paint work, but it's been a nice job. There's sort of no dodgy mask lines in the gaps and things like that. Around the arch is lovely. Another good wheel with that Goodyear tyre. Around the filler caps, all nice and neat. And then where the convertible top is good as well, where that meets the bodywork. And again, you've got that stamping all the way down. Ferrari stamps across the top. The hood itself, it's in fabulous condition. Normally with low mileage cars, sometimes the risk is that someone might store the car with the hood down and you end up with wear marks on the ribs. But this one, as you can see, is really very good. Nice and neat all the way on the sill on this side. Nothing to whinge about. Down there. One small chip where the door's been opened on something at some point. The rest of the door all nice and neat. Up the A-pillar, that's good. And this section of the top of the windscreen's good as well. A couple of little stone chips in the black trim, just there. And then down the bottom here, around the arch, that's good all the way around. And then round up the front, fog lamps, side lights are neat on both sides. Obviously you've got pop-up lamps on this one. Enamel on the Ferrari badge is good. A couple of minor stone chips, and there is a light, you can just see it, light bit of crazy in the paint there where something sort of pushed against the bumper at some point. But the bumper does sit exactly as it should. It lines up in all the corners, all that sort of stuff. So body width wise, very presentable, really great looking car. Interior wise, again, this is another thing that sort of leads you to believe the mileage to be correct. Normally along here. And again, the carpet set, more importantly, because they're, sorry Ferrari, but a very low quality at this time. They're all lovely. No wear at all on the steering wheel. Really very, very nice. Got the right plaque there with VIN number on. Show that again, 1,612 miles. Lovely and neat along the dash top. Got a little couple of marks just there. Something's been rested on it by the looks of things. Centre section is nice and neat. No wear on the gear stick. Quite often these buttons can wear and go sticky, but these ones are all lovely. Aircon obviously. We do have a Pioneer head unit in there. Now, being truthful, I don't actually know what the original spec Ferrari one is. We've got a Pioneer in there with the remote. And it does have the adjustable suspension as well. We will pop the bonnet while we're here, just so we remember. He says, there we go. Pop that forward. Back seats, don't look like they've been sat on hardly at all. All the seats, all the leather is lovely and satin. It's not overly shiny from use. It's not, leather goes shiny from bums sliding on and off it, but as you can see, really nice and satin. You can see the grain in it. A lovely smell in there. We need to pop the boot as well, and the engine cover. It's been a long day today, you have to excuse me. Ignition on. Pop those two. And then into the boot. Got your tonneau cover there, and the little leather pouch to go with it. That is the original UK reg. It is being sold on L9PGH. Carpet set and everything in there is nice. Underside of the boot lid's good. For being picky, that ram's a little bit soft. It will hold it if you give it a chance, but it is quite soft. And then under here, that ram's lovely because it does have the little pin on it. You can see all your Ferrari plaques. You've got your manual release for the fuel cap down here, which has still got the leather pouch and the proper Ferrari cap on it. Again, like I say, it was just serviced with plugs and oil filters. You can see nice shiny oil filter down there. But the recommendation was, based on time, now is a good time to do the belt. VIN number all nice and visible. See that whole cradle on the outside, all good. Fire that up in a second. We have a look under here. So your fans down the front. Fuse board. Now, the last couple I've seen these dry out and go horrible, but this is lovely. Well clearly marked. Nice and neat. All your plaques are where they should be. There is what I imagine was the original set of belts in there. Warning triangles there. The cover's off for the battery just so we can get to it to charge the battery while it's here. We don't want to go in flat, but they're all there and present, so you will notice that. Underside of the bonnet is lovely as well, as is this gap down the front. Shut that back down and we'll start it up. Fires up on the button, stone cold. Taking over lovely and happy. Again, with that Vario gearbox, sometimes you can get a bit of juddering if it's not been looked after or if it's a bit worn. This one, I would say, is up there with probably with some of the best semi-automatic, automatic Ferraris I've been around. No juddering, even when we pull it up the ramp or onto this studio at the back here. If we stop halfway and pull away, sometimes you can find a bit of juddering and things like that, but this one is spot on. So there you have it, 1994 Ferrari Mondial T with a lovely story, incredibly low mileage, which again, like we say, it's very difficult to prove these things 100%, but I would bet the house on it being correct. If you've got any more questions, please get in touch. You're welcome to come and see the car anytime. It is here with us every day now until auction day. If you can't get to see it, let us know. You can get extra photos, extra videos. We can do a video call. We can answer any questions you might have. You've just got to ask. Thank you.